BJPen.com. I have the Outlaw Dan Hardy here, getting ready to talk about his upcoming fight at UFC 120 in the United Kingdom. What city is that in?
London.
London?
It's the O2 Arena.
Okay, with Carlos Condit. What do you think about Carlos as an opponent?
I think he's a gamer. I think he's tough. You know, I enjoyed watching his fights in the WEC, and obviously I've been keeping an eye on him since he came to the UFC. And you know, just watching his fights, just paying attention. You know, making sure I'm aware of who's in the division. And he's had a couple of tough fights, but you know, he showed a lot of heart. And I think he's a good opponent. You know, he comes to finish, and that's what I want. He's not going to be the kind of guy that's going to try and grind out a decision. He wants to either get a submission or a stoppage. So, perfect opponent for me because we can have a tear up and entertain the fans.
Okay. Now he's had some good performances in the octagon, but a little bit of mixed results. Where your experience in the octagon has been more dominant than his. Are you surprised that he agreed to fight you?
I'm not surprised that he agreed to fight me. I'm surprised that he asked to fight me. I think that was very foolish of him. You know, I mean, he had a tough debut in the UFC against Martin Kampmann. Kampmann's a tough guy, and that was a you know a decision, a close decision. And I was impressed with both the guys in that fight. But you know, then he's had two performances. Jake Ellenberger, obviously, you know, another tough guy, a strong wrestler, and then Rory McDonald, and you know, he's not looked particularly dangerous in either of the fights. So I don't know. I just think it's a foolish thing of him to do to call me out, but. He's obviously determined to get to a title shot, and he thinks that I'm the right person to go through to get there. So it's going to be an interesting one for him.
Okay. Now you're fighting back in the UK, your homeland. How does that feel? How does that? I mean, I know the crowd is definitely behind you. He's going to be coming into enemy territory. So does that add motivation to go out and put on a solid performance?
Just fighting in the UFC is enough to make me perform at my best. But obviously, being in the UK and being surrounded by the British fans it is awesome. It's also nice to be in the same place that I'm doing my whole training camp. You know, I'll be training in Nottingham for the camp, and I'm just going to drive a couple hours south, and I'll be in London. I'll be ready for the show. So. I'm looking forward to that, and obviously it'd be nice to get back to the UK fans. I know there are a lot of guys that you got to see what I'm putting up with here. I've got Chad George doing things behind my back. I'll get you back for that. You know I will. I was doing so well. I was keeping a straight face. I was doing so well. I'll get you back for that. What was I going to say? No, it's nice to, you know, there are a lot of fans that wanted to come out for UFC 111, but obviously with it being New Jersey, not everybody was able to get there. You know, so it's nice to be back in front of the fans, so they don't have to travel too far to come and support me.
Okay. What is your prediction for this fight, or how do you see it playing out?
I just see a war. I just see a fast-paced war. It's going to be, you know, back to 15 minutes. My last fight was 25, and you know, so I've got good conditioning. I've maintained some of that, and I'm looking forward to getting back to training. And I'm training for 25 minutes, you know, from now on. So I'm going to be doing, you know, 8, 9, 10 rounds in training. So when it comes to 3 rounds, I'm just going to keep a pace on him that he can't deal with. You know, he likes to come to fight. He likes to finish, and I just think that's a great combination for. You know, for me, I think it's going to be a brawl. I think he can take some punches. He's got some slick submissions, and I don't like to tap, and I don't mind taking a punch. So I just think it's going to be a war. And I think later on in the fight, maybe, you know, late second, early third round, I'm going to catch him with something, and he's going to realise that you know, it's not going to be his night.
As far as opponents go, where would you rank him with the competition that you have faced in the UFC thus far?
I don't know. I mean, I think he's up there. You know, I mean, obviously my first fight was a tough one with Gona. That guy's a very, very difficult guy to pin down, difficult guy to fight. So that was for me, that was my most frustrating fight. And the good thing about Carlos is that he's the other end of the spectrum. He's the kind of guy that doesn't back up, doesn't run away, and avoid getting hit. You know, I mean, obviously I've had some tough fights. I mean, you know, Roy Mark and Marcus Davis, Mike Swick, they're all tough guys. You know, I definitely think he's up there. I mean, he retired with the WEC belt. You know, he was still the champion of that when the organisation closed his weight class down. So you've got to take him seriously. And after seeing, you know, Martin Kampmann's last performance against Paulo Thiago, and knowing that he took him to a close decision, that just proves how tough he is. So, I definitely hold him in high regard. I think he's a tough opponent, and I think he'll be a great win for my record. Good to get me back on track with a solid win like that.
Okay. Now something that I've noticed here is we're a ways out from the fight, and we see kind of a different personality with Dan Hardy. Normally, the fans are used to a more brash, sarcastic, trash-talking guy. Is that like another personality that comes out as fight gets closer, and during the off season you're more of a relaxed guy, or what's up with that?
Well, I'm always pretty relaxed, but when I come to that last 8 weeks of training camp, I start to switch on mentally, and that's when I start to kind of prepare myself for a war. And I think that's all it is. I think the confidence comes with the fact that I'm training hard, all day. I'm putting the work in, and I'm feeling I'm getting better. I'm getting into shape, and with that comes the confidence and also the impatience, knowing that I've still got weeks to wait before the fight comes up. Right now, I'm just I'm enjoying training, enjoying the sun, and looking forward to getting back to the UK and getting started. But as soon as I get back to the UK training camp, and that's when the brain switches on and the attitude comes back.
The ego.
Yeah.
The attitude. All right. Interesting. So, red eyes? You gonna do the red eyes again?
I don't know. That was an idea I had last minute. I just thought it'd be fun to throw it in there just to kind of spice things up a little.
Yeah, it was pretty scary, man. Pretty unique and original.
I like them. It's the first time I've had red. I've had several other ones before, but I like the red. They suit me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. My last question, I guess, would be: do you have any messages for your opponent, Carlos Condit, coming into this fight? Anything you want to say to him?
Just get your ass in the gym, man. Just get your ass in the gym. You called me out, and that was a silly thing to do, because I've come off my first loss in the UFC, and I am ready to put a beating on somebody. And unfortunately, you put your hand up first, and you're the man that's going to get it. Get in the gym.